Hi guys, and welcome to my everyday reading show. And today's story, Memories Memories of a Yellow Dog. Let's begin. I don't suppose it will knock any of you people off your perch to have a contribution from an animal. Mr. Kipling and a good many others have demonstrated the fact that animals can express themselves in re remuner remunerative English, and no magazine goes to press nowadays without an animal story in it, except the old style monthlies that are still running pictures of Brian and the Montpellier horror. But you needn't look for any stuck up literature in my piece, such as Biero, the Beard and Sneko, the snake, and Tamanu, the tiger, Talking the Jungle Books. A yellow dog that spent most of his life in a cheap New York flat, sleeping in a corner on an old satin underskirt. The one he spilled port wine at that the one she spilled port wine on at Lady Longshoreman's banquet mustn't be expected to perform any tricks with the art of speech. I was born a yellow pup, date locally, pedigree, and weight unknown. The first thing I can recollect, an old woman had me in a basket at Broadway and 23rd, trying to sell me to a fat lady. Old Mother Hubbard was boosting me to be the band as a Ginny, Pomerian, Hambletonian, Red Irish Cochin, China, spoke Portuguese for Fox Terrier. The fat lady chased we around among the samples of gross gain flanter, flanet, le, flanelity in her shopping bag till she corned it and gave up. From that moment I was a pet, a mamma's own woodsy Squimbles, said gently Reader, did you ever hand a 200-pound woman briefing a flavor of camembert cheese and pew espagin, pick, pick you up and wallop her nose all over your remarking all the time in an Emma's, Emma, Emma's tone of voice. Oh, oh, bitsy bitsy, schoolrooms. What? What's going on? From a pedigreed yellow pup, I grew up to be anonymous yellow cur looking like a cross between an Angora cat and a box of lemons. But my mistress never trembled. She'd heard that the two primeval pups that not chased in the ark were but collateral branch of my ancestors. It looked it took two policemen to keep her from entering me at the Madison Square Garden for the Siberian Bloodhound Prize. I'll tell you about the flat. The house was the ordinary thing in New York, paved with Parian marble in the entrance hall and cobblestones above the first floor. Our floor was there. F FL, well, no flights, climbs up. My mistress rented it unfurnished and put the regular things. 1803 antique 1903 1903. Antique, upholstered, parlor set, oil Choromo of geishers in Harlem Tea House, rubber plant and husband. By serious, there was a bit, bit up I felt sorry for. Bip, bipped. It was a bipped I felt sorry for. He was a little man with sandy hair and whiskers, a good deal like me. Hech-pecked, well, toucans and flamingos and pelicans all had their bills in him. He wiped the dishes and listened to my mistress tell about the cheap, ragged things the lady with the squirrel skin coat on the second floor hung out on with her line to dry. And every evening, while she was getting supper, she made him take out of the end of a string for a walk. If a man knew how women pass the time they are alone, they'd never marry. Laura Lauren GB, peanut peanut britty and little amount almond cream on the neck's muscles, dishes unwashed, half an hour's talk with the iceman reading a package of old letters, a couple of pickles, and 2 bottles of malt extract. 1 hour peeking through the hole in the window, shade in the flat across the air shafts. That's about all there is to it. 20 minutes before time for him to come home from work, she straightened up to the house, fixes her red so it won't show, and gets out of a lot soon for a 10-minute bluff. I led a dog's life in that flat. Most all the day I lay there in my corner watching that fat woman kill time. I slept sometimes and had pipe dreams about being out chasing cats into basements and growling at all ladies with black mittens, as a dog was intended to do. Then she would pounce upon me a lot of that delivering poodle palaver and kiss me on the nose. But what could I do? A dog can't chew clothes. I began to feel sorry for Hubby, dog my cats if I didn't. We looked so much alike that people noticed it when we went out. So we shook the streets that Morgan's cab drives down and took to climbing the piles of last December's snow on the streets where cheap people live. One evening, when we were thus promenading, I was trying to look at look like a prize St. Bernard, and the old man was trying to look like he wouldn't have murdered the first organ ginger grinder he heard play melted songs within marsh. I looked up at him and said in my way, "What are you looking so sore about? Are you Occam trimmed lobster? She don't kiss you. You don't have us to sit on her lap and listen to talk that would make the book of musical comedy sounds like the maxis of Epictetus. You ought to be thankful you are not a dog. Brace up, Benedict, and bid the bubbles be gone, the blues be gone. Beg one." The matrimonial mishap looked down at me and almost canny intelligence on in his face. "Why, doggy," says he, "good doggy, you almost look like you could speak." "What is it, doggy? Cats? Cats could speak." But of course he couldn't understand. humans who deny to speech of animals. The only common ground of communication upon which dogs and men can get together in the fiction. In fiction. In the flat across the hall from us lived a lady with a black and tan terrier. Her husband strunk and took it out every evening, but he always came home cheerful and whi- whistling, whistling. One day I touched noses with the black and tan in a hole, and I stuck him for a liquidation. See here, wiggle and skip, I says. You know that is ain't the nature of a real man to play dirty nurse to a dog in the public. I never saw one lashed to a bow wow yet that I didn't look like he had liked to lick every other man that looked at him. But your boss comes every day and as perky and set up an amateur prestidigitator doing the egg trick. How does he do it? Don't tell me he likes it. Him? Says the black and tan. Why he's used nature own remedy. He gets spifflicated. Spifflicated. At first, out, when we go out, he is shy as a man on on the streamer, who would rather play Pedro when they make them all jackpots. By the time we've been in its saloons, he don't care whether the thing on the end of his line is a dog or a catfish. I've lost 2 inches of my tail trying to sidestep those swinging doors. The pointer I got from the terrier, oh, what a welly please copy, set me to thinking. One evening about 6 o'clock, my mistress ordered him to get busy and do the ozone act of lovely. I have concealed concealed it until now, but that is what she called me. The black and tan, was called Tweetness. I consider that I have a bunch of him as far as you could chase a rabbit. Still lovely is something is a nomenclatural thinking on the tail of the one self-respect. At a quiet place on a safe street, I tightened the line of my custodian in front of the unattractive, refined saloon. I made a deal that I had scramble for the doors, winning like a dog in a press, desperate, desperate chase, desperate chases, dispatches. That lets the family know that little Alice is bogged while gathering lilies in the brook. Why, darn my eyes, say the old man with a grin. Darn my eyes if saloon-colored son of seltzer lemonade I'm asking me to take a drink. Let me see. How's long it's been since I saved shoe leather by keeping foot on the footrest? I believe I be I will. I believe I will. I knew I had him. Hot scotches he took sitting at the table. For an hour he kept a Campbell's coming. I sat by his side, rapping for the waiter with my tail, and eating free lunch, such as Mamma and her flat never equaled with her homemade truck, bought at the deli- delicatessen store 8 minutes before Papa comes home. When the products of Scotland were all exhausted except the rye bread, the old man unwound me from the table leg and played me outside like a fisherman plays a salmon. Out there, he took off my collar and threw it into the street. Poor doggy, says he, good doggy. She shan't kiss you any more. She's darned shame. Good doggy, go away and get run over by a streetcar and be happy. I refused to leave. I leaped and frisked around the old man's legs, happy as a pug on a rug. You old flea-headed woodchuck chaser, I said to him, you moon-baying, rabbit-pointing, egg-stealing old beggy, can't you see that I don't want to leave you? Can't you see that we're both pups in the wood, and the missus is a curl uncle after you with the dish towel and me with the flea liniment, liniment and pin bow to tie on my tail. Why not you cut that all out and be parts forevermore? Maybe you'll say he didn't understand, maybe he didn't. But he kind of got a grip on the hot scotches and stood still for a minute, thinking. Doggy, says he finally, we don't live more than a dozen lives on this earth, and very few of us live to be more than 300. If I ever see that flat anymore, I'm a flat, and if you don't, you're flatter. And that's no flattery. I'm offering 60 to 1 that westward hoe wins out by length on ditch hunt. There was no string, but I flocked it, along with my master, to the 23rd Street ferry, and the cats on the road saw reason to give thanks that prehensile clothes had been given them. On the Jersey side, my master said to a stranger who stood eating a corned bun, me and my doggy, we are bound for the Rocky Mountains. But what pleased me most was when my old man pulled both of my ears until I howled and said, you common monkey-headed, rat-tailed, sul- subtle-colored son of a dog mad. Do you know what I'm going to call you? I thought of Lovely and I wished dolefully. I'm going to call you Pete, says my master, and if I had 5 tails, I couldn't have done enough wagging to do justice to the occasion. Alright, that's it. See you tomorrow.